Dallas, Minnesota will be the first game we discuss. There's a lot to go over there. Is it more about Kirk Cousins or is it more about Dallas? The Kirk Cousins thing continues. This doesn't count as a primetime game, but we know Kirk Cousins in any type of notable game, he spits the bit. Did so again today. If you're a Cowboys fan, Tony Pollard, it seems like he's out of here after this year. Is there any way? Is there any way? I know Zeke's cap hit is crazy, but is there any way they could find a way to keep Tony Pollard? Because what you saw today is like some futuristic. Like he should be the future of the Dallas Cowboys running game. I mean, he's the present for sure. I mean, Zeke is the goal line threat. Zeke is the standard. But with what Tony Pollard's been able to do, even with Zeke being hurt prior, and even when Zeke has been healthy, just Pollard just brings a different energy. He attacks the hole. Pause. It's a different type of ferocity when Tony Pollard is in there. It's just clear. The O line seems to block better. Like the angles are the holes are hit harder. The seams are hit harder. The cutback lanes are there, and they're actually exploited. Like it's different with Zeke. It's very much north and south at this point in his career, but Tony Pollard brings a dynamic that just Zeke doesn't have anymore. Whether it's age, whether it's the wear and tear, just being the NFL running back, I don't know what it is, but you know, it's just not there anymore for Zeke. The D line for Dallas, getting home with 4. We talk about this a lot. It's like a talking point that just never goes away, but it keeps rearing its head. Anytime you could get pressure with 4, it means something. Micah Parsons was a difference maker today. Micah Parsons, you could argue, was the best player on the field today. And that's what you want when you have a guy on defense that is dynamic like Micah Parsons. You want a guy that can go out there and on the first drive of the game, go out there and get a strip sack. Go out there, set the tone, get the strip sack, and away we go. Justin Jefferson. Somebody want to say something? Somebody want to say something? I mean, the enigma of is someone a number one receiver or not? Like he certainly looks the part, plays the part most times, but today, did Justin Jefferson look like a number one receiver? Was he locked today? I don't know if I'm ready to say he's locked today. I'm going to have to rewatch the tape, but I did not like what I saw. For sure. How many targets did he have today? 5 targets. 5 targets, 3 catches, 33 yards. I mean, this is just, you could just chalk this up to being an aberration if you want, but the way that the Vikings have played this year, where, what's their point differential? Because their point differential is not that great. They've played a lot of close games. Yeah, they're 8-2 with a -2 point differential. Like let's be clear with what's going on. Like the Vikings, this is the most weird 8-2 team ever. Even if you check the Vegas odds, they're still plus 16, plus 1600 if you want them to get the Super Bowl. You can't really trust them. But was this game more about the Cowboys or was it more about the Vikings spitting the bit at the crib? Big win last week, huge win, emotional win. I get it. But then coming home against a Cowboys team that most feel are beatable to a certain degree, and you put up 40, you give up 40 at the crib. That's tough. That's tough. Not sure what you're supposed to expect there. Dalvin Cook, they don't establish the run like they used to. Dalvin Cook's battled through injuries, but even Madison, he's battled through injuries. So, I mean, they got Hawkinson and Kirk Cousins. If there's one thing about Kirk Cousins, he loves him a tight end. Loves him a tight end. He'll just check down to a tight end. Like, instead of checking down to a running back, he loves to check down to the tight end. So, Kirk Cousins, I mean, I don't know. I just... There's something within him when I see him play that just doesn't scream elite. It doesn't even scream above average. It just seems like a bunch of mid when it comes to Kirk Cousins. And if you want to look at this from a Cowboys perspective, I mean, Dak was okay. It wasn't bad. I don't think it was great. His stats look great, but I don't think he played great. Yeah, this game came down to the D line of the Dallas Cowboys, and he just collapsed the pocket time after time after time on the Vikings, and Kirk Cousins was running for his life. Kirk Cousins running for his life in a game that matters at home. That could very well be a preview of something we see in the playoffs. That game should have been a lot better than what it was. 40-3. I mean, horrible. Horrible. But in the sense of at least you saw one team play like they're supposed to. The Dallas Cowboys played up to the reputation that they are supposed to, right? They had great running game. Pollard was dynamic. Dak was okay. And then you have Micah Parsons being the star that we know he is. Micah Parsons is a star. Okay, so the Cowboys have an actual star, not just on the helmet. They have an actual star player on defense that is a game changer in Micah Parsons, and he played like one today. You need more of that. You need a more consistent performance like that from Micah Parsons. Let's see. I know the Jets and the Patriots set back football 30, 40 years, so we'll skip that. But uh, Buffalo. Buffalo went through a lot this week. A whole ton of snow. What, 7 inches of snow or whatever? A whole bunch of snow to where they couldn't play that game in Buffalo. They had to go to Detroit and borrow the Lions turf out there at Ford Field and play the Browns. And Stephon Diggs looked big mad in the first half. Had to go out there and have a heart to heart with McDermott and to get his mind right, I guess. And then he was able to catch a touchdown pass and then seem to right the ship. I mean, sometimes you just need to get your star the ball. And if you're Josh Allen, you need to find a way to make sure you always get Stephon Diggs involved. Like, that should be persona non grata. That should be the number one thing every game. Get Diggs involved early. Why that doesn't seem to be the case sometimes, I don't know. I don't know if that's Allen wanted to spread the love, make sure Gabe Davis gets some touches, make sure you get Dawson Knox in the mix. But the hell with all of that. Get the ball to Stephon Diggs early and often and make sure he's ready and he's locked in, because clearly it affects him. As a number one receiver, a guy who thinks he's him, we've seen the GIF, he says he's him. So you can't just let him just wallow out there for a whole half of football and not get a target. A target. I can understand maybe not getting the catch, you're trying to force it to him, maybe tough coverage, whatever, but not a target for damn near the whole first half. You can't have that happen if you're Josh Allen. You can't be the MVP that everyone is lauding you to be, and your best guy, the guy that has made you look like an MVP, because we know that his completion percentage has jumped up 11 points just off the fact of having Stephon Diggs. So the fact that you have that guy who's been that important to your success, not being able to get a target, not even a quick little slant, little out, hot route, nothing for damn near the whole first half. Yeah. If I'm Diggs, McDermott, come here, let me holler at you, bro. Let me holler at you, bro, because I need to holler at somebody because I need to rock. I'm him. I need to rock. And he finally got the rock, and he was able to cook and do a little something. But yeah, that's weird to me how they were not able to get him in, and he only had 5 targets for the entire game. Just weird. Dawson Knox with the most targets. Gabe Davis with the most targets. Like, Dawson Knox and Gabe Davis should not have more targets than Stephon Diggs. I'm sorry. Should not. Should not. And I'll say this for Cleveland. And I did put this up on the Elon app at the CMD. That's TheeSamd. And Amari Cooper, I still don't know why the Cowboys traded him. I still don't get it. But the fact that they're going to have nasty man Deshaun Watson walking in and having a bona fide number one receiver in Amari Cooper, a bona fide number one running back in Nick Chubb, a above average third down back, borderline starting running back in Kareem Hunt, in Njoku, we don't know. But, in the sense of there's going to be weapons for nasty man Deshaun Watson. And this, he's walking into a very good scenario because Amari Cooper is still one of those. He's still a top 10 receiver in this league. You could argue where he's in that ladder. Like he could be top five if you really want. At times he looks top five, but I think it's a safer bet to say Amari Cooper is top 10. But yeah, that's going to be a good offense to have Chubb, Kareem Hunt, Njoku, Amari Cooper, Peoples Jones is okay. And then you have Nasty Man, who, your man's Dabo Sweeney said he's going to be the Michael Jordan of the NFL. Hasn't quite happened that way. It definitely has not. It has not happened that way. Certainly not this offseason, not the last two plus years. But he could throw the pill, so we know that. So if he could go out there and have that same type of connection with, if Jacoby Brissett can have a connection with Amari Cooper, imagine when Nasty Man Deshaun Watson gets his. The Eagles. The Eagles. Eagles are low-key a pick of mine to at least get to the Super Bowl. I don't know about win the Super Bowl. I made a bet in the preseason. And they looked like game busters coming out the gate, like running roughshod over everyone, getting out to that, 8-0 start. And then they trip up against the Commanders on Monday night. And, all right, things happen, but today, again, granted on the road, granted against a team in the Indianapolis Colts who is a lot healthier. Jonathan Taylor looks to be getting closer to the form that we saw last year. They went back to Matty Ice. They're riding that washed arm that is Matty Ice. Michael Pittman Jr. The thing with the Eagles is, as much as we want to talk about their run defense, and they certainly bolstered that with Livale Joseph and Ndamukong Suh, House of Spear Sue. The secondary is a thing to me. They give up a lot of yards. They give up a lot of cushion. And with Slay, big play Slay, it's hard to imagine that type of play coming from the secondary. But they give up the coverage is just a little too soft for me. Just a little too soft for me at times. And it kind of reared its ugly head again today as the coach just kept hanging around. And you could see the talent disparity, but you still don't see the execution disparity on the defensive side for the Philadelphia Eagles. You just don't. Jonathan Taylor was running at a decent clip. He broke along when they kind of pad the stats a little bit to help the yards per carry average. But Michael Pittman Jr., he's a guy that, he's not a number one. He's a number one on that team because, who else is it going to be? Paris Campbell. But in terms of the offense for Philly, so there's two takeaways for me from this game. One thing is that defense, and trust me, I have the Philadelphia Eagles defense in fantasy. Not that you care. But they haven't been as dominant as they were earlier in the year. So teams have figured out how to attack them in places. And maybe it's just the fact that they know they're going to play soft. They're going to play off the ball in terms of coverage. I would love to see a little bit more man-to-man. I would love to see a little bit more blitzing. I'll have to go back and rewatch some of the tape over the last couple of games to make sure and finalize that take. But for some reason, over the last, I would say 3 to 4 games, I just haven't been that impressed with the Eagles defense. And as far as the offense go, Jalen Hurts looked tentative at times throwing the rock. A.J. Brown, this is a guy who should be getting like how we talked about Stephon Diggs getting the type of targets and getting the ball early and often. They have tried to do that at times with A.J. Brown, but he had a big fumble today. I don't know, just for a guy like A.J. Brown, you just feel like he's a mismatch every time. Every no matter where he is on the field, he should be a mismatch against whoever's trying to guard him. And I just don't feel like at times sometimes you need to force feed your guy, whoever your number one guy is. You need to force feed him at times, and for some reason they just don't do that. Yo, Jeff, what's good? I see you, man. Thank you for pulling up. Appreciate you. See the homie Jeff right there. What's good, Jeff? You know me, man. Always talking my talk. I'm going to keep finding ways to keep talking my talk. You know how I do. Yeah, so I mean this whole the Eagles thing offensively, they've gotten away from running the ball. I mean, it's clearly Jalen Hurts is their main weapon there, which is to me problematic going forward. Because Miles Sanders is not trash, Gainwell is not trash. Even Boston Scott got some carries today. Like they should be able to establish the run. That offensive line is one of the largest offensive lines in the whole NFL, not just the NFC. And I just don't see them establishing that line. I just don't see them dominating at the line of scrimmage. And that could be a thing as we get deeper into the season here. And clearly, the Eagles going to make the playoffs. It's we'll see if they'll be able to win the division because as I've been talking about on my podcast, the SamD podcast, is that the whole NFC East has the easiest schedule in the NFL. Like all of them, all four teams. They're all tied for the 30th easiest schedule in the whole NFL. So like it's not a surprise that all of them are killing. Like it's not a surprise. Not a surprise that the Eagles jumped out to 8-0 when you look at their schedule. But as the games get tougher here and they go up against better comp, what will carry over? What is the identity of this team? If you had to ask me what is the identity of the Philadelphia Eagles, I really can't tell you. At times they look like a team that could put up 40 a week. They look like that. And then other times they look like a team that looks like today, where they're struggling to get 17 points. They need to have an identity. The talent is there. That's clear, right? They have given Jalen Hurts enough help for him to showcase his skill set. So we're good there. They have a number one in A.J. Brown. They have a guy in Devonta Smith that can be a really good number two, borderline number one if A.J. Brown is out. Like, so maximize that. And if they're battling injuries, I get it. I get it. So, but in terms of identity, sometimes even if you have injuries, you can still establish an identity. And I'm just not seeing that from the Philadelphia Eagles. And in terms of the Colts, Jeff Saturday, I tell you what, he got them playing. They're playing very hard. They're playing very aggressive. Defensively, more so than offensively. Offensively, I think they're still trying to figure out what the hell they're going to do with Matty Ice. They're trying to play around the weaknesses of Matty Ice. I'm not sure what they do there. They don't have a lot of answers behind them. So I guess you just kind of have to do it if they're not going to tank, because clearly by Jeff Saturday reinstating Matt Ryan, they're not tanking. They may end up losing a lot of games, but they're not openly tanking, okay? So, but with Jonathan Taylor looking healthy and healthier, this offensive line, they have a lot of youngins on that offensive line. Again, for me, football is a very simple philosophy: is run the ball, stop the run. They could not run the ball effectively to me today, because even if you look at Jonathan Taylor's yard per carry, it's about 4 yards per carry. But if you take away that 28-yard run, it drops down to about almost under 3 yards a carry. So did not get anything going at the line of scrimmage in terms of establishing things for their best player on offense. I think their best player overall might actually be Stephen Gilmore, but that's another conversation for another day. Let's see. So that's that with that. Who else we want to talk about today? Do we want to go down to the A yet? Do we want to go down to the A? It was a fun game in the A. Both teams are going nowhere, although you could argue that the Atlanta Falcons, you know what? Let's go down to the A. Let's go down to the A. So Atlanta, Chicago. Now, full disclosure, Chicago is a team of my youth, but I got off that narcotic, as Bomani would say. But more so for me, it's just understanding that fandom is a mental illness. So I don't rock with any team. I don't claim any team in any sport outside of Brazil in the World Cup. Viva Brazil. That's about the last bastion of my freedom, of my fandom. Let's see. So Chicago Bears, Atlanta Falcons. Bears on the road, been putting up a lot of points. Justin Fields has been exciting. He's been dynamic. That word's being used a lot because a lot of quarterbacks are trying to show that they're dynamic. Tony Pollard was dynamic for the Cowboys. Justin Fields has been that type of dynamic as a quarterback for the Chicago Bears. And they kept him in check today. Now, he had some x-rays after the game. He was definitely favoring his shoulder. He takes a lot of sacks. Sometimes he runs into them. Sometimes he holds on to the ball too long. But again, this is a guy who they're just finally discovering and finally unearthing what he can actually bring to the table. So Justin Fields, he's how can I talk about Justin Fields and not be labeled a hater? Okay, so Justin Fields, as good as he's looked, as dynamic as he's looked, as much as I'm ready to proclaim that the Chicago Bears are no longer a quarterback away, because I really believe that they are no longer a quarterback away because they have Justin Fields. Hard stop. Here's going to be the thing, though. Now that we know he can run the ball, now we need to figure out how good of a passer are you? Because we saw that more so at Ohio State. He didn't really run the rock like this, nowhere near like this at Ohio State. But in the sense of now we need to figure out arm accuracy, placement of the ball. Can you put the right touch on the ball? Things of that nature. Now we come into the finer details of quarterback play. Once we establish, okay, you can be a dual threat. You can throw on the run. You can scramble. You can make plays with your feet. You can throw guys open when you're on the run. Okay, we got that part. I'm good there. If I'm a Bears fan, I am confident in Justin Fields in that aspect right there. Here's the thing, right? Like, it's like, okay, now when you take that regular 5-7 step drop back, and Darnell Mooney's open, and you airmail him by 5 yards when he was breaking away, that was going to be a touchdown. I believe that was for the second half, the first half, second half, I forget. But he had Mooney, and it was an easy touchdown. And he put too much strength on the ball. He needed to put some touch on the ball. He put too much. He airmailed it, right? And it's just like those are the things where it's like, all right, we can let some of those slide. Because he's getting his footing, he's getting his bearings, right? He's finally found a coaching staff that believes in him and is at least entrusting him to like get his shit off, right? So now it's in the thing of, okay, can you make the touch throws? Can you make those throws? Because those are going to be the throws that matter long term. And for Justin Fields, I don't know, man. They need Chase Claypool to be something more than just a decoy on the goal line, I tell you that. I know he's trying to get adjusted, still learning the offense, all of that, yada, yada, yada. But he's going to need to do a lot more than what he's shown so far. I mean, you give up a second-round pick, and the dude's only got 3 targets. Give up a second-round pick. You purposefully jumped in there to make sure that your rival, the Green Bay Packers, don't swoop in and get him. You sweeten the deal and go throw a second-round pick in there to go get Chase Claypool. And it's been a few weeks. I wasn't expecting him to come out the gate and go get, 7 for 110 in a touchdown. But it's been a few weeks. Darnell Mooney is certainly establishing himself. Cole Kmet, arguably the catch of the year with that one-handed grab he had. Although I don't think it beats that Jefferson one against Buffalo. I don't think it beats that. But Cole Kmet had a great catch. But yeah, Chase Claypool, second round pick, and it's been a few weeks, and you still only getting 3 targets. That's problematic. Yeah, the Bears are just weird. The Bears are weird. Defense is not that great. Obviously, they traded away Roquan Smith and Robert Quinn, so they've waved the white flag on that from that standpoint. But let's move to the Falcons. The Falcons, look, man, they got Marcus Mariota. They were supposed to have nasty man Deshaun Watson, but that didn't transpire, so they had to do a check down on who their starting QB is and Marcus Mariota. I just don't understand. I don't know how you have Drake London and Kyle Pitts. And correct me if I'm wrong, did Drake London get hurt in this game? I'm on red zone. So I'm going wherever red zone takes me. And I don't recall Drake London being hurt, but I find it hard to believe he only had 2 targets. But even Kyle Pitts, again, another game for Kyle Pitts and the Bears give up a lot to tight ends. They do not, even when they had Roquan Smith, they were still giving up a lot to tight ends. Now with no Roquan Smith, 5 targets, that's just, I don't know if that's play calling. I really don't know if that's play calling because they've been calling for what's the kid's name? Ritter? Over there in Atlanta, they've been calling for him. But I mean, I just find it hard to believe how game after game. Let's take a look at Cal Pitts here. Can we get a breakdown of his targets? Game log. Let's see what we got here. Targets. All right, so let's run this down. 5 targets today, 8 against the Panthers, 7 against the Chargers, 9 against the Panthers again. Like, it's just not enough. Like, he's a guy where wasn't there a game early this year where Diggs had like 15 targets or something crazy like that? Like, if you really like, if he's him, and for all intents and purposes, Cal Pitts is him, from what we've been told and from the few flashes we've seen, he should be getting more like 9 targets. 9 targets should not be an anomaly in this stat line. It's more likely he's averaging like 5 targets a game. That's not enough. So I don't know if that's play calling. I don't know if that's Mariota just not feeling confident. I don't know what that is. But if the kid Ritter can throw the ball to Pitts or at least target Pitts more, then maybe I make that change. But the problem is that division is so mid that the Falcons are low key in the hunt for the division. They are in the hunt for the NFC South, and that's it's gonna be hard to sell a fan base in putting in Desmond Ritter when you're like half a game out of first place. Like, yeah, they're 5-6. Tampa Bay is 5-5. Like, yeah, like they're half a game out of first place. You can't justify putting in Desmond Ritter right now. Problem is, he might be the only one that can actually force feed the ball to Cal Pitts. I'm really curious. Did Drake London get hurt? Let's see. Let's see if we can look that up real quick. Give me a second here. Yeah, I don't see anything in regards to an injury. I don't know. I'm sure somebody will let me know. I'll do some more deep dive. I'll do some more digging. But I didn't see anything hurt in regards of injury for Drake London. But 2 targets, he had to be hurt because even he's another one that doesn't get a lot of targets. Drake London, but two, yeah, that's because it hasn't been that bad for him. Game log. Let's see. Yeah, like he's in that six to 7 range in terms of targets. So the fact that he only got 2 today tells me he must have been hurt because there's no. I mean, the Bears don't have a lockdown corner, so it's not like he got locked. But what an exciting game! Like the Falcons keep finding ways to hang around, especially at home. They are definitely a home team. Um, they just find ways to stick around at home. Cordell Patterson. I mean, what more can you say? This guy's a receiver, a quarterback, receiver turned into a running back, and he's been phenomenal. He was a special teams ace, and he showed you that today. Broke the record. Was it the ninth kickoff return for a touchdown today? Breaking records, Cordell Patterson, and he's been great in the running game. I'm surprised they don't use him out the backfield more in terms of catching the ball because he was a receiver. And with that speed and the way that he's learned to run upright and like break tackles, that would be like pretty dope as a check down. But for some reason, they just use him primarily as a ball carrier, which is a complete 180 from what he was as a receiver. Um, but again, he broke that kickoff return, broke that record. Then he went out there and in the second half, in the fourth quarter especially, was able to get some yards on the ground. Algier was pretty solid as well. Like again, the Falcons are a team. They're definitely still a quarterback away for sure, right? I don't know if Desmond Ritter's the answer to that either. But when you look at what they have in the backfield, whether it's Cordell Patterson or Algier, and then when you look at the fact that they got Drake London and Cal Pitts, I mean, you can see why Nasty Man Deshaun Watson was considering it. You can see why. right? But Mariota is clearly not going to be the long-term answer there. So who can they bring in that can fit in with a Patterson, a Kyle Pitts, and a Drake London? Like, it's almost tailor-made for you. You're walking in and you're having Drake London, who is projected to be a number one receiver. I won't put him there yet. He hasn't shown enough. I mean, this is his first year, right? Cal Pitts, we're all expecting him to be another one of those game-changing tight ends that like redefines the position. And then you have a running game. Even though Cordell Patterson is not your traditional running back, you can't deny the results. And then even if you want to go the traditional route, you have Algier, who has been more than adequate in replacing Patterson. There's enough weapons there on the offense to where you get competent QB play, not mid QB play, and maybe even below mid with what you've gotten from Mariota, but get solid QB play. The Falcons could do something here. The defense is not that great, right? There's not a lot there to cover this kind of bear there defensively. But in terms of offensively, they should be able to complete with just a slight upgrade. You don't need an elite QB. If you have the weapons, you don't need an elite QB. If you don't have the weapons, then you do need an elite QB, and therein lies the difference. The Falcons have, they have weapons, so you just get a respectable upgrade from Marcus Mariota. That team's going to be over 500, and that team will definitely at least be in the wild card mix. And with the way the Bucks are going here with TB12 and the avocado ice cream and all of that, they don't like the Falcons have the easiest pathway to success in this entire division because the Panthers are back to tanking. The Saints are the Saints. They're about to be in salary cap hell. This division going forward should be the Falcons division. Should be. In the very near future, like just one upgrade. There's no more team that is a bigger, maybe the Jets. Who's more of a QB away, the Falcons or the Jets? Who's closer to like really taking that jump to being like legit with just an upgrade at the quarterback position? Falcons or the Jets?